Today's reading is from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 9, verses 9 to 13. And yesterday we celebrated the feast of Matthew, the Apostle and Evangelist, traditionally the author of the Gospel of Matthew. We also identified this character with the tax collector in this passage, whom Jesus called literally from the seat of custom to follow him. Now, none of us, I suppose, like paying taxes. And many of us get annoyed when taxes go up, like in the recent announcement that national insurance is going to increase. Even though we can be reasonably sure in this country that our taxes are going to be used for their intended purpose, to improve life for us all, we still don't like parting with them. In Matthew's day, there was a great deal more exploitation and corruption, and those who got rich on collecting taxes, as many did, were really hated. In addition to this, they were working for the Roman occupying forces, and that made them collaborators. So you can imagine how people felt about them. So in that context, we read not only of Jesus calling a tax collector to be his disciple, but then afterwards he ate with all Matthew's friends, who would have been of the same ilk. No one else would have shared table fellowship with him. How could Jesus do that? What a scandal. How shocking. How could he stoop so low and demean himself so much? It makes me wonder, where would Jesus be today in our society? Perhaps at the homeless shelter, at the food bank, at the women's refuge, at the prison, at the needle exchange, at the refugee camp, at the rehab centre, at the asylum seekers detention centre. This is why through the ages Christian charities have sprung up to care for these forgotten and ostracised people whom society has left behind. This is why Mother Teresa spent her life caring for the poorest of the poor, picking up the dying from the gutter and caring for them for the last days of their life. Because as Jesus points out, those who are well don't need the special attention of the doctor. It's those who are seriously sick who need that. No one could argue with that logic. But the Pharisees felt that Jesus was defiling himself by contact with these unclean people. And we too can fall into the mistake of thinking that the people we approve of are the ones who are more loved by God or closer to God. Not so. The kingdom of heaven turns our ideas upside down. Jesus showed this in his actions, and this is one of the reasons why they killed him. His attitude was intolerable to them. He was such a threat to the status quo. God cares nothing for status quo, nothing at all. Indeed, God actually seeks to shake up the status quo, to disturb radically and question it, even to abolish the idea of status altogether. As the letter to the Philippians puts it, Jesus emptied himself, not regarding or holding on to his status as Son of God, as divine, but becoming the lowest of the low, a crucified prisoner, identifying with those whom human society has utterly rejected. Then he rose from the dead, gloriously alive and eternally present, vindicated, ultimately validating his path of service and humility, of compassion and mercy. None of us can live up to this example. But if we seek to follow in his way, this is our aim, our aspiration. Matthew's life was turned upside down by Jesus' attention, as were so many others. So can ours be. God can do this with any sinner in this life, even you and me.